Jillian, here we are. I've pretty much got you here so many times now. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you. Let's talk about how much time of you, the client, is required in order to have a positive outcome when you hire us or you hire a web design agency to do work for you.
Great topic.
Thank you. You came up with it. So it's,
I did.
first of all, okay, let's speak. I'm speaking from me here. I don't know what anyone else is doing
Okay.
with their process. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's a great question. What is required of you? Are you going to have to spend 40 hours a week with me for a month in order to like make it actually work?
Right.
Or are you having no hand in it at all? Both of those sound bad, right? Can't expect you to do too much because why have you hired me?
Right.
Shouldn't have to babysit the entire thing from beginning to end. But on the other end, I need sufficient information from you to make sure I'm going and doing the right work, right? When I started doing this many years ago, I had more hair at the time and much less experience.
Right.
I'd go to a repository online and I'd buy pre-made websites for 50, 60, $70,
Okay.
templates,
Okay.
download it, mess around, do the best that I possibly could because I just didn't have the team or the skill set or the budget to do it the right way. And I didn't have a choice. I'd go and like spend 15, 20 hours messing with it and doing the best I could. And I really didn't have a way of just doing, hey, here's the desktop version of the homepage. Here's this, right? I had to do all of it. And what would happen if I presented to you and you say, well, Alex, you're a nice person, but I really don't like what you gave me, right?
Yeah.
No good, terrible. So the answer is this is a creative endeavor. Every project is different because personalities are different. How you and I will mesh as two individuals, how you'll react to my first presentation of my work to you. It's all different, right? So it's very hard to say exactly, but I'll say we have a process and I follow that process and we continue to improve the process through experience to get to the desired end result. In my view, yes, I need time from you. There's an onboarding phase, which is kind of step one. I'm smiling to myself here because I'll send an onboarding form. It's got a bunch of questions on it. The reality is, I know most of the answers because I've spent time asking you questions as part of the sales process, right? In my view, it's not a sales process. It's a getting to know one another and making sure we're the right fit process. If we're not the right fit, let's not work together because I'm just buying headaches and I don't want any headaches, right? I don't want any headaches for you either. So we're making sure that we understand each other, we're on the same page, etc. Once we've done that, I'll go to the onboarding phase. I'll say, listen, we've spent a couple of hours together getting to know each other. Do me a favor. My team hasn't spent any time with you. Fill this out. Take the time. It'll take you half an hour, maybe. We get it. By this time, I know what sites you like. I know what your inspirations are. I know in my mind where I want to go with this.
Right.
And it's just a matter of me going and doing the desktop version in Figma and presenting it to you as I did with your project recently.
You did.
And then I send it to you and then I cross my fingers and say, I hope she loves it because I want to make my clients happy. And at that point, I'm asking you for feedback and it's very variable. You know, you might say, Alex, this is the best thing ever. It's way better than I imagined. I have zero comment. Or you might say, I don't like the font or this color scheme I don't like. Who knows what's going to happen? But you're going to give me feedback initially. I'm going to change it and improve it. And you're going to say, the desktop version is great. Done of the homepage.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go apply the same brand to all the other interior pages that you need. In your case, let's just say another 10 or so pages. And I'm going to ask you again, hey, check out all this stuff I did. You should love it because it matches what you already approved, but give me your feedback. And we'll do that same exercise of improving whatever needs to. And then we'll go to the mobile versions, right? Don't let it be an afterthought.
Right.
No logic in like, hey, the desktop looks great. Figure out what the mobile should look like in development.
No. The
Doesn't,
majority of people are
yes.
looking through their mobile devices.
50, 60, 70%, like for sure.
Yeah.
I'm also super into what's the mobile nav look like? What happens when you hit the hamburger, right? How's the menu going to open? What's it look like? It's really important. If that is ugly, like it detracts from the whole user experience, right? So I'm really into those details. And again, you may have few comments, you might have a lot of comments, but we use Figma for that primary reason is all of us can collectively work in one place and we can all approve it and be a part of the process. So again, put what I just explained now versus what I used to do when I knew nothing in the beginning. Like there's just no comparison. Better for you, better for us, and we get to the end result faster without, headaches and stress. And look, again, this is a creative business. Sometimes we just don't hit it immediately. It takes try after try after try. You'll laugh. We're making edits to our own site, and I'm like fighting over one or two pieces that it's just not what I envision. And it takes time. It takes time. Other times we hit it out of the ballpark right away, and it's like, what could we possibly else do? So I hope I've given you a good answer. It's like, what is expected of you? I think the best answer is when I do send stuff to you, just be responsive, right? Be ready to provide feedback in such a way where we can push things forward. You'd be surprised. People will engage us, pay fees in advance, will produce work of which they themselves even say, oh, this is really great work. And then priorities come up. We don't hear from them for weeks, a month, right? Kind of kills the momentum, right? And it's okay. I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, we're a vendor and we work on your schedule. But I want to get projects done and I want to get them done effectively and at a high level. So communicate in Figma, give us your honest feedback. I always say I love positive praise. Great. Yeah. Tell us how great we are. But more importantly is tell us the things you don't like. So I would, if I had to guess, we're talking about a few hours of real effort and engagement during the process from our clients.
Which is fantastic because when you think about it, you guys are putting forth so much more time and energy
Oh, yes.
prior to that. But something that I really thought about too is on that initial, when you finally send it out to them, I was just thinking to myself how important it is to, as a consumer, to so strategically be looking at it in that initial aspect because at first you could get so excited and you could say, wow, it looks great. This is amazing. And then you move forward with it. And have you ever had this happen where you finally have you've had this website up and running now, they gave you the okay, and then now they're looking at it and they're like, actually, I don't like this. I don't like this. And you said, but I sent you this exact thing. So there has to be this element of stressing to those clients too, how important it is to just like, hey, take a moment, really look this over,
Take more than a moment.
take
Yeah.
some good amount of time. Like this is the fruits of our labors.
Yes.
And we really want you to give honest feedback here right now before it's like out into the world.
What,
Right.
what you're saying is one of the biggest issues in the design field.
You can imagine.
There's something called scope creep, right? You agree to a list of deliverables and you end up doing this list plus 50% more.
Right.
Um, I I'm very, very, very to the point these days and say, I'll do everything I can to get us here, but you gotta look, we've done this content before. It's like, if you're gonna hire me, you gotta follow my process. If we don't, you're making double or triple the work for me for no reason. So yes, it's, are you sure? Because to iterate in Figma is one thing, to iterate in WordPress or Shopify or something is a whole different thing that requires much more time and effort. Let's not duplicate triple, the amount of work. Uh, as the company has grown, as new teammates join us and are part of delivering the experience to the client, that you're building, yes, we're building you a website, but we're also like, this is your image on the
It
web.
is.
It's
Yeah.
very important.
It is your
It's
business.
literally your business. And I don't know about you, but if I was to come to two websites and I was looking at vendors for something, and one has a significantly better user experience, are we not infusing trust in that potential client with a better result? Of course we are, right? Of course.
Good.
So it's very important. And as we grow and as new teammates join us, it's very important to me that the client's experience with all of this. I don't ever want situations in which the client feels compelled to email, where are we with this process now? We have dozens of design projects all the time. Okay. And I don't want things to get lost. So it's important that you're hiring us for many reasons. One of them is that I always say we're not learning on your account. It's not the first time I'm doing something. I'm not figuring it out on your account. There's always room to grow. We're learning. Everything is a learning experience, but you see what I'm saying. It's not a first time. And we continue to iterate and refine our process. For example, maybe one line item might be email the client that development has started. Takes 2 seconds, right? Email the client that we're maybe a couple days away from the QA starting.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it goes a long way. It goes a long way. So to answer the initial question, I would estimate a few hours of time of real time investment is required. Now, there could be wild outliers of that. I'll give you a couple examples that come to my mind. One client never had a site before. It's a new build, although it's an existing business. They spent an absurd amount of time looking through pictures and stuff and trying to do. Whether I agree or disagree with that approach, it doesn't really matter. But I'm telling you, they spent probably 2 full days just sourcing images from their repository and doing all that stuff.
Right.
That doesn't happen very often. Usually, clients give me access to their creative and they let me run with it, and I take what is necessary as part of the process. Um, One other thing that comes to mind is if it's a new business that is still figuring out who they are, or an existing business that doesn't really know who they are, then the messaging isn't right. I can sometimes be confused as the, you know, content creator, which we have an individual from our team specifically that does that, but that's not the like when we do a redesign, it's like usually the content exists. We're just restyling and repackaging the whole thing. So the content piece could take significant time as well, required of the client, right?
Right.
And I often say, like, let's just say I'm doing a site for you. I'm doing your site. Does it make sense that Alex writes content about midwifery, about doula services, about all these things? Well, it probably makes a lot of sense for you to be involved in that because you know the nuance. You've been at 1,000 births. Um, I've been to two, and I was terrified in both of them. So
But I will say I was very impressed with how much you already portrayed and created on the website that was just so good in relation to what I do. And obviously, there's some good like tools and tactics and outlets to utilize now that make that magic happen.
yes,
But it was incredible, right? Where I envisioned as a consumer coming to you that I was going to really like have to prep all these paragraphs, all this information, like, you just did it, and I just had to approve it and just add a couple little tidbits
yep,
here and there, and it was just such a good
good.
experience because I am so incredibly busy and being able to, have somebody do this entirety of the service for me with just a little bit of input and confirmation and be okay. It was so good.
Thank you. That's what I'm going for. Yes. Look, again, it's process. Like, did I not ask you, Julian, in the beginning? I'm sending you a shared drive. Give me your images.
Yes.
Give me everything you have. Everything.
Yeah.
Don't look through it. Don't do anything. Just give me everything you have so I
Give
can
it
look
all.
through it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to see that come to light and made into this beautiful website, this
Oh,
space.
look, I hope this comes out the right way. I'm looking to do best in class sites. I do not want to come across a midwifery or doula site that looks better than my work, or I'm going to be upset. Okay. No, I mean that. I'm sorry. That's the energy I have to bring to the project. Like, what's the alternative to that? I want to do something that's average. What kind of thing?
Well, that's funny because that is one of the questions that you do ask everyone, I'm assuming, is, "Hey, send me a couple websites that
Of course.
really, speak to
Yep.
you." And, um, the only websites that I'm really on are kind of those of my competition, right? And so sending that to you is gonna create something so much better. It's
Again,
like, "Alright."
I don't want it to come across as, boasting or something. It's not what I mean. It's just like, I need to bring the energy because it takes a lot of energy to do this. Standard project is 50 hours of work or more.
Yeah.
It's not less than that, right? The design phase, 20, 30 hours. The development phase, 30, 40 hours. Those are the numbers. So I have to bring the energy. Thank you. And your point about, tools that are available. Yes. Here's my current thinking on AI. It's not replicating me, but I'm using amazing tools in order to speed up my process, be more effective at my process, and get a better result to my client faster. Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic.
As is the rest of the
Oh,
world. Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah.
It's great.
Um, I hope I've answered your questions.
You did. That was wonderful.
Thank you for spending time with me.
Thank you.